left off yesterday showing the DVD interview that shows you and the defendant speaking. Is that correct? It's State's Exhibit 320. Is that where we left off? And we left off at 1955. So we're going to start at 1953.
Correct.
I want to cry and apologize to this person and their family, but something in my heart just won't let me, man. I don't care about nothing, man, because I don't have nothing to live for. One thing I can pray for, but I don't give me this.
He makes some statements about society, paying back society. Can you tell the jury about that?
Well, he mentioned that the only way that he thought he could pay back society, I seem to recall he mentioned a couple of options. I think maybe he suggested he could beat someone up or shoot someone, I believe, or something like that. I would say that I experienced a lot of what he's experienced, but I can also say that never once did it make me want to kill anybody.
Do you remember this assessment that you did?
Yes.
And why is it that you remember the assessment, sir?
Just knowing it was a high-profile case. It was brought to my attention prior to the defendant coming in, and I mean, like I said, in these situations, you know, your documentation has to be queued because it can't be scrutinized by anybody. He basically said that, you know, I mean, it wasn't about the gentleman that he had actually shot. It was just about the uniform. He was trying to make a statement towards the uniform.
And as y'all walked him out to the parking lot, was there a group of media with cameras asking the defendant questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did the defendant answer their questions?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your motive? What makes you do it? Anything you want to say? Being accused without killing him.
And you see some officers standing outside, bike officers. Do you know what they're doing there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you or Officer Mascoro, or in your presence, did either one of you call for extra security or backup?
No, ma'am. As we were standing there with the detention officer, he said he was glad to shoot him. You can't judge me. It felt good to do what he did, and then he had to do something to get someone to listen.
Around 11:56 a.m. that day, that Sunday, or just a little before that, was anything brought to the attention of yourself and other members of the medical staff there that they had somebody coming into the emergency room?
Yes, sir. Our trauma triage nurse who takes the call from EMS came up to us. Generally, they'll fill out a paper regarding the level of care, but she looked at me and she said, an officer's coming in, he's been shot, he's bad. And by this time, we have already given him 2 units of blood. And I look over to Dr. Sams, and she says we're still going. So I called for more blood. So we had an individual run up to the blood bank to get more blood, to continue to give him blood. So by this time, we've assessed his rhythm 3 times, which means over 6 minutes of CPR. We've given him epinephrine to try to get his heart to start, to keep it going. And he has no rhythm. There is nothing that we can do to try to shock his heart. So Dr. Sams looks at the room and she says, we're cutting his chest. So what we can do sometimes as a last-ditch effort is we will essentially cut from the sternum all the way down to the end of the bed, so make a very, very large incision. And what the goal is to expose the heart so that you can actually inject epinephrine, the medication to help the heart restart, into the heart. I could not believe how fast this happened. Literally within seconds, they are in the chest cavity. Dr. Sams has Detective Marconi's heart in her hand, and she's injecting epinephrine. And right about this time, I look down because my feet are warm. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And my feet are warm because I'm standing in a pool of blood. We had given him so much blood to try to resuscitate him that it was pouring from his head down the ED bed that he was on and pulling around my feet. Officer Lopez, who was the individual who had been performing CPR on Detective Marconi, was standing immediately to my left, and he let out a horrible noise and collapsed to the floor. And I just remember standing there, kind of unable to act.
I work for Bexar County at the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office. So this is what we call an abrasion rim or a muzzle imprint, which further goes along with the idea that the end of the barrel was right up against the skin. From all that energy, from the blast of the gun, often the skull will fracture in many places. So he had many skull fractures as a result of this wound path.
Your Honor, at this time, the state rests.
We'll see you 10:30 Monday morning. Y'all have a great weekend.
All rise for the jury.